Next up, we have Ryan Skeen. He is from First AU. The ASX code is FAU. Got some exciting projects for gold and copper in Victoria. Ryan, over to you to tell the First AU story.
Hi, Kerry. Great to be back and, updating the market and your investors on the work we've been doing in the background to set ourselves up for success. The standard disclaimer slide will leave everyone to read that at their own time. Just a company summary. So starting with our Victorian gold project, as you mentioned, we've got gold and copper projects over a significant land holding that is about 2,500 square kilometres. Not all of it has been granted at this stage, but we're expecting a large land package to be granted prior to the Christmas break this year. So that's really going to expand our footprint in the area. I think it's important to emphasise that our focus is on the Victorian project, but we do have projects in Western Australia with our Gimlet Gold project that does have 120,000 ounces. And we've also got a relatively new project in South Australia, which we pegged a few months ago. And we'll be working on those in the background, but the works we've got coming up at Victoria are really our focus at the moment. In terms of our capital structure, we've recently done a placement and we've got a share purchase plan ongoing at the moment that closes next week. This is going to be really important to our success and what we've got coming up over the next 6 to 9 months. We're now in a position where we've got about 3.6 million in cash prior to the share purchase plan, which is another 400,000. And that kind of puts us in a position of 4 million in cash, market cap of around 8.5 million at the moment, and an EV of around 4.8, which will be slightly less after the share purchase plan. I think the point that I would like to emphasize with this is that we're well funded, quite low EV, and we've got some great projects and present a great investment opportunity now. I don't think that there is going to be a better time to get on board than right now. I think that, we haven't had a great run in terms of the share price, and we're quite confident that over the next 6 to 9 months, we can offer some really good upside for investors. I think this chart we've got here demonstrates that with the news flow and the works that we do have coming up. So I'll go through the projects in a little bit more detail shortly. But most of these, barring Mabel Creek, are our Victorian projects. So we've currently got drilling underway at Snowstorm. We're a couple of months into that. We expect to have our first assay results back from the labs in early Jan, and there'll be more to follow from off the back of that as well. That drill program will continue on into Q1 next year at the rate that it's currently going. Following that, we'll also be kicking off drilling at Dogwood, which is a porphyry copper prospect, towards the end of January, early February. And then we've got the Haunted Stream Gold project as well, which will be kicking off drilling at the start of Q1 2022, with Mabel Creek early stage exploration sort of ticking along in the background. I think that what this shows here, and again with the strong cash position that we've got, is that we're really looking to accelerate and increase the amount of exploration works that we're doing over the next sort of 6 to 9 months. And we're really keen to find out, how good these projects are. We're here for a reason in the areas that we've got, but I think it's, this is really going to tell us, how good the projects are, and hopefully we can deliver some really good value and results to our shareholders. So we're just going to focus on our Victorian projects a little bit here, and what brought us to this region to begin with. So this model that we've got here has been validated by the Geological Survey of Victoria, and what it's telling us is that, going way back in time, 440 million years ago, our Haunted Stream area, which is basically where all our Victorian projects are, was a long strike and part of the same geological features as where Bendigo, Stawell and Fosterville sit. Obviously, they're really renowned assets, and we know the sort of mineralization that has been found in those areas. But then at a point in time, there was a collision with the Tasmanian plate with the main Australia, and that's what's caused the folding or the bending of the Haunted Stream zone to now be on the other side of the state. And we're now in an area.
Sorry to interrupt you, but is that what this is showing? Because I'm looking at going, what's the difference between the one on the left and the one on the right? So
basically it's saying that where Haunted Stream is on the left, it probably looks like it's somewhere in New South Wales, but there was a collision with Tasmania, came up and hit that, and it caused it to bend around. And that's why we believe that there's significant mineralization in the area that we are working.
Okay.
So we recently saw with the land release around the northern goldfields that the Geological Survey predicts that there may be as much as 75 million ounces undiscovered in the northern Victoria. But working off this model that we've got here, we think that there's still significant undiscovered gold in the area that we're located as well. And hopefully we can be, you know, as an early mover in the area, we can be, you know, make significant discoveries. This is just a quick tenement map to show where in Eastern Victoria we are located specifically. It all looks quite close together, and you know, they're probably half an hour apart, our project. So we're really happy with the land package we've got, and I'll go into some of the projects in a little bit more detail. So this is just focusing on the historical production and and again further validating why we're here. So you know, we're talking at Snowstorm, which is the project we're currently drilling. We've seen high-grade gold in our early drilling results, over 30 grams per tonne, which is really significant and also very encouraging. We've also been able to take rock chips samples up to 123 grams per tonne. And we're talking about our geos literally walking up to the side of a hill, knocking some rocks out and producing rock samples at 123 grams per tonne, which is...
I better go for a visit.
It's pretty incredible, isn't it?
Yeah.
So that's obviously underway at the moment, the drilling there. We've also got dogwood, which has produced historical intersections, and this drilling goes back into the 90s, and we'll talk about that a bit more. Historical intersections of 13 metres at 1.33% copper, and we've also had a pretty encouraging gold intersection in the area at 2 metres at about 8.8 grams per tonne. Sorry. We've then got Haunted Stream, and this is probably our best prospect, and we're working towards undertaking or increasing exploration there in the middle of next year. It's had a roughly 25,000 ounces mined from it historically, and those grades have sort of averaged between 15 to 30 grams, but also going as high as 150 grams in quite small amounts. But again, the point we're trying to make here is that we're in an area that's got a really rich history of high grades of mineralization, and we're looking to extend on the work that's been done, because a lot of it hasn't been significant amounts of exploration, and it hasn't been deep work, and we'll talk about that in terms of drilling depths shortly. So just focusing on our Snowstorm project for a minute. So back across April and June, we released the results from our initial drilling program, and the two areas that we were really interested in and where our primary focus is in the current drilling campaign is around two holes which produced the best mineralization. So that's 3 meters at 11.6 grams per tonne, but it included a really high grade portion at 33 grams per tonne. And then the other one, which was 1.2 meters at 8.5, but again, it showed quite a small section, but really high mineralization at 49.3 grams per tonne. So we're looking to extend on and look to chase the mineralization around those two holes. And we'll have our first results coming out in early Jan, with more results that will periodically follow that as well through to the end of the drill program, which will continue into next year. Moving on to dogwood. So as I mentioned, it was last drilled in 93, 94 by CRA, which is now Rio Tinto. And obviously at the time, they never followed the work. I believe that's when CRA became Rio Australia and then Rio in London as well. And we've had some contact from the GEO who did the works there, who's providing us with some more information, which has been really helpful. But in the program, they produced intersections of 13 metres at 1.33%, and the hole finished in mineralisation, which I'm going to show you an image of in a second. And then we also had that really encouraging gold intersection of 2 metres at 8 grams per tonne as well. So effectively, our plan at Dogwood is going to be, we're going to follow what they previously did in the early 90s. A lot of the drilling that they did was RC, whereas we're going to be looking to do diamond drilling. And what we're looking for is we're going to be looking for the structure because we believe mineralisation is structurally controlled. And we're also going to be extending on a lot of the work they did in terms of depth. So this image on the left, that line that cuts across on an angle, this is the hole that had the intersection of 13 metres at 1.33%. And what it's showing is the total depth it got to was 90 metres, and the bar graphs that are coming off it show the mineralisation at each point. And what it's telling us is that the hole actually finished in mineralisation. So the end of the core, the last bit, still had copper in it. So we're going to be looking to replicate that hole but go deeper, and that's largely what we'll do across the drill program. But we also do have some other holes planned as well that will hopefully provide us some more information. And I think that based off the historical results that they produced, we're quite confident that we can produce what they did, but also extend on that as well. And that will kick off in, as I mentioned previously, that drill program is going to look to kick off in late Jan next year. Moving on to Haunted Stream. So again, this is, as I mentioned, this is a really promising project that we've got. We're looking to increase exploration as we sort of over the next 6 months in this project. And it occurs across 8.1 kilometres of strike length. So if we have a look at that image, and I know that the numbers might be a little bit small, but that's the historical production across the project and the rock chip samples that have been taken across the project. And I think the key point that we want to provide with this graph is that mineralisation is quite high grade, and it occurs across the whole 8.1 kilometres of strike length. And that's where, again, we've had some reefs that go up to 150 grams per tonne. Historically, they're not taking huge amounts out, but it tells us that there's a really significant mineralised zone under this whole area, and we're looking forward to increasing our activity across it. So we've got our first drill program planned for the Ernestine prospect. So that's in the bottom right-hand corner. And I think I'd emphasize that it only represents a very small portion of the entire project. So whatever results we end up coming up with there, and, again, hopefully they're going to be really good. We'll be looking to extend, well and truly across that whole 8.1 kilometres over time as we continue to explore the area. But I suppose the prospectivity of it is really significant, and something that we're hopeful can really produce some strong results over time.
So just to reiterate there, Ryan, there's been no modern exploration work done on this particular area since the mid-90s and
early 1900s. So Dogwood, so we're talking Haunted Stream specifically, has not had any extensive work done since the early 1900s. Dogwood did have some in the in the 93, 94, but Haunted Stream, no significant work has been done. There's been minimal amounts, but nothing of significance. And this image here sort of shows, in the top right-hand corner, shows some of the existing underground infrastructure. And it goes back a long way point in time, as I mentioned. And the reason why it was never sort of followed up is that it was technologically limited in what they could do. So they had issues with water. There's issues with sulfur. So, you know, when you go underground there, you do see, and it does get, you know, quite stuffy with the sulfides at times. But obviously with modern exploration techniques, we aren't limited by those things. So they've gone as deep as 115 meters, which in the grand scheme of things is quite shallow in terms of gold systems. And we're going to be looking to basically go well and truly under those previous historical workings where we believe that it's open at depth and the potential to deliver some results are quite good. And now I just want to quickly touch on our other projects, again, emphasising that our focus is on Victoria, but we do have Mabel Creek in South Australia, where we do have quite a good land holding over 1,000 square kilometres, which is surrounded by some pretty big names in terms of BHP, Rio, FMG and Oz Minerals. So it's a potential for an IOCG deposit. So IOCGs effectively the potential to produce copper and gold. And Olympic Dam is the most well-known IOCG deposit. It also has uranium as well. We're not suggesting for a second that we've got another Olympic Dam, but you know, it's just a conceptual idea in terms of what is an IOCG deposit. So we'll be looking to sort of start
sorry to interrupt you, Ryan. For those of you that don't know, IOCG is iron oxide copper gold.
Sorry, yes, I should have said that.
That's okay. That's okay. Just for those that are new to this.
So yeah, we'll be looking to sort of undertake some early stage exploration work. So soil sampling, gravity surveys, you know, working with previous geologists who did do some work in identifying the tenement as well. So that'll sort of be happening in the background, and we'll provide updates as that progresses, but it's not quite at the stage where we'll be ready to drill that for a little while just yet. In Western Australia, we've got our Gimlet project. So we updated the market in June this year to upgrade the resource to 120,000 ounces at 3.2 grams per tonne. It's it's adjacent to Horizon's Teal and Jarks Find deposits. And we've currently got a mining lease application underway. It's progressing, and we'll obviously provide further information when we do have some on that. It presents at 120,000 ounces. Obviously, the Kalgoorlie area is quite rich in mining infrastructure, and it provides us with options if we do want to go down the path of a small mining operation. We've not made any decisions on that at this point in time. We've also identified further targets as well if we did want to drill and look to provide or increase the prospectivity across the tenement as well. So we'll continue to sort of work on that in the background. It's not forgotten, but you know, again, it's certainly Victoria is our primary focus at this point in time, and we will continue to provide updates as we do have them for the Gimlet project.
1 minute left. Oh, look at that. Oh, all in the timing, isn't it? So Ryan, I need to ask you, we've got 1 minute left. To our investor audience out there, give me 3 reasons why you think now is a good time to invest in First AU, ASX code FAU.
Absolutely. So over the last 6 months, we've been working really hard to provide ourselves a strong platform to increase our exploration over the next 6 to 9 months. And what that's going to lead to is point 2. It's going to lead us to really good news flow. So we've got drilling happening now. We're going to start more drilling in Jan, and then that's going to lead into more drilling again at the start of Q2. So drilling leads to results, and hopefully we produce good results and provide some good upside. And that sort of leads into point 3. I think that, you know, the position we're at the moment, you know, a relatively low EV for a company with really high grade prospects. You know, we've got 3.5 million cash in the bank roughly, with some more to come with the share purchase plan. I think the upside for investors is quite significant. And I think that, you know, downside from here well, hopefully, fingers crossed, is quite limited.
All right, we're out of time. Ryan, we'll see you in the Zoom networking at the end of the day for questions from our audience. Thanks, mate.
Fantastic. Thank you.